First, we start using AI at an individual level. Everybody has the experience now using ChatGPT. But the challenge is how to use it to enhance the performance of a group, a team, a company, an organization in general, or even our civilization, our species.
Are we moving from connecting people to creating something closer to a collective mind, perhaps?
How to build large intelligent systems that are a network of interconnected agents, but not a centralized big agent like a god we ask for everything. Okay, that's a big mistake.
In this age of abundant data, why do you think that organizations are still losing? I don't know. It seems like they're still losing like their own intelligence.
I think AI is our next, blending us, and AI is our next step in evolution.
What if the networks that connect us today could soon start thinking for themselves? Billions of signals, calls, messages, payments, emotions are pushing through these invisible systems that are forming patterns that no single human could actually see. For more than a century, telecommunications have been about connections. But what if the next leap is not about connecting us faster, but it's about helping us think together? Welcome to the Tech Foresight podcast. This is the space where we are exploring how technology is reshaping the future and how visionary leaders are preparing for it. I am Diana Daniels. I've spent my career in telecom at the intersection of telco, blockchain, and now even AI. And we are helping that infrastructure that moves information across the planet. But what really fascinates me the most is how just this system work and how that we are transforming that way that where we live, lead, and connect. My guest today is Dr. Fernando Núñez Mendoza. He holds a PhD in electrical and computer engineering from the Polytechnic University of Catalonia. He also studied at Stanford and was a visiting scholar at Project. He is the current CEO and co-founder of FONDI. He has spent 2 decades turning telecom networks into intelligent systems using AI, behavioral analytics to help videos connect in smarter and more human ways. Fernando called this leap the collective superintelligence, a world where humans and machines are not just exchanging data, but co-creating this understanding. And because the future won't belong to the smart machines or the smarter people, it will belong to those who learn how to think together. It's going to be a fantastic episode. So stay with us with the future of intelligence that starts here. Fernando,
Hi,
how are you?
I'm very well.
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you for coming. So
Sure. Thank you for having me.
let's start with this world where you know the best, which is the telecom world. For over a century, it's been about this connecting signal, bandwidth, reach. But in the paper you shared with me, you suggest something deeper, that networks are evolving from systems of communications into what you call systems of cognition. And sometimes for me, it reminds me like if we are building this nervous system of the civilization. Does that metaphor maybe resonate with you? And are we moving from connecting people to creating something closer to a collective mind, perhaps?
Yeah, I think that's the ultimate end of AI and humans blending together. Now we are immersed in a very accelerated change, and it looks like we are building or tiling the whole planet with huge data centers to build something called AGI, artificial general intelligence. I think that's not the best goal for our efforts now. I think what's going to happen is that little by little, first we start using AI at an individual level. Everybody has the experience now using ChatGPT. But the challenge is how to use it to enhance the performance of a group, a team, a company, an organization in general, or even our civilization, our species. I think AI is our next, blending us, and AI is our next step in evolution. And I think that little by little, we're going to see a higher focus of companies initially on becoming more intelligent in achieving more complex goals by a mix, a collaboration, an ecosystem of persons and synthetic entities or AIs together in a network, as you said very well, very wisely, not of communication, not only of communications, that's 20th century, but of shared collaboration, shared memory, shared goals, shared reasoning. So we're moving from, you and I were telecom people, okay? I always say that my company is a company that tries to bring telecom companies, which are 20th century companies, into the 21st century, which is the century of explosion of intelligence. So yeah, that's a summary of what I think is the point of our talk today. How we move from communication to collective intelligence.
Got it. And then, but if our networks are starting to think, right? Who do you think that it will decide how do they think? Is that going to be left to the engineers, or also the society should have a voice into this thing?
Yeah, it's a very good and open point. How are our goals as a society, as a team, as an organization, even as a family? How do we set our goals and how we work for them, right? So even, we're in times where there are questions about how we upgrade democracy so it works. And I think we have to do it and quickly, because let me tell you what is behind everything. Behind everything is the concept of what is true. Where is the truth? In the explosion of generation of content, of apparent news, more and more we're going to need machine help to understand what's true. I think in the future you could have here an agent, and at the time I'm speaking, the agent will be showing you a graph saying how likely is that what I'm saying is true or based on facts. That's one of the things that's going to happen. So what is the goal? The goal is that we know when we work for something that our goals are the best possible, they're achievable, and they're based on true facts and things that are a reality, not a apparent reality. So I think that's the key struggle of our generation, using this technology we have created in a way that help us be a more transparent and truthful society. That's, I think, the goal, the ultimate goal, because if you think anything else is going to be bad for humankind as a whole, for companies. So being very pragmatic, because I'm an entrepreneur, my prediction is that in not many years, in 5 years or so, companies will need to have a different type of organization, and they need to know in real time all the truth or the facts that they need to make the next decision. Okay, so that's the change, the incredibly fast and radical change we're immersed now.
I was reading the other day that Gardner Group, they published a report that said that 80% of enterprise data is never analyzed.
Yes.
And Harvard Business Review also said that the employees, spend a full day of a week actually searching for information that already exists in the system somewhere, right? So in this age of abundant data, why do you think that organizations are still losing? I don't know. It seems like they're still losing their own intelligence.
Look, that's very timely question for me. I'm actually working now in that, precisely that point in my own organization, while I'm building a new one. Okay, what's the problem we have in organizations in general? Could be a company, could be a university, our beloved Stanford, could be our governments, could be our Society of Nations. I think that the first problem we have is that we have not developed our knowledge infrastructure as a society, our shared memory, our shared foundation of our knowledge infrastructure of truth, of facts, of knowledge. That's not an endeavor that we have, that we have not started as a group. And this is the first thing we have to do. Even a company has to do that. I'm doing that in my own company right now. The second thing is that people should have explicit goal to work for and learn how to reason collectively to achieve that goal. That's something as a new technology, it's knowledge technology that has not been also even theoretically developed. I'm very much aware of the recent research in that space, and it's all very new. People are just about starting to that. For example, Stanford Human AI Institute, they are recently launched a call for proposal from researchers in collaboration with Google DeepMind on precisely this aspect. What are the ideas for using AI, not just, to be a single central entity that has all the knowledge. I don't think that that's the right goal for us to pursue, but how to use AI for us humans to have higher collective knowledge, what I call, and some people call, collective superintelligence or augmented intelligence. So we can tackle the problems we really have in a more efficient way. If you let me, I can put a simple example of what's collective intelligence. And it's pre-generative AI at its best. There is AlphaFold, the AlphaFold project. AlphaFold sequenced by predicting the three-dimensional structure of proteins, more than 200 million proteins, with an effort of more or less 200 person years or $65 million without AI, but using state-of-the-art computer-aided lab techniques. That same effort would have costed 300,000 times more. So there's a very good example, and they got a few Nobel Prizes for that, of how we can use specialized AI, vertically specialized, not general AI, to solve specific problems that we have, okay? And could be AlphaFold, but could be also solving, climate, fusion, energy, could be solving hunger in the world. I think that's what we need. And we are just starting to build the infrastructure for humankind to do this type of things. And if you go back to something more specific, like a company, companies will soon have a kind of a central repository of all the knowledge where people have tools to work as a human. Humans, we like to be disorganized. We like to be creative. We like to do our own thing. And we have an agent, and we will have, every day dumping all our thoughts, all our ideas. The agent will tell us, well, now you have to tell me how I prepare this report. And all this will be automatically organized by AI into a common asset of knowledge for a company, for a government, for a society. I think that's the struggle in which we are now immersed. And let me just finish with another report of another very well-known organization. In July this year, some MIT researchers published a very popular now in a negative sense report called the AI Divide, in which they reported that after studying hundreds of companies that invested collectively between 30 and 40 billion dollars, they found that 95% in AI pilots, okay? They found that 95% of those pilots produce zero return.
Interesting.
Yes, because in my humble opinion, this is because we're trying to use AI in the wrong way. AI, especially generative AI, is another language machine like us, and we should have our first priority should be to use AI to enhance the human condition, not to automate what it can be simply done with traditional automation technology. So I think that's a little bit the moment of confusion in which we are immersed now. And I hope some ideas and spots of
one of the things that I see this here, Fernando, is that you've been talking about like obviously that the foundation of what you call the collective superintelligence, and where humans and AI are sharing this living network, And what, the thing that I kept kind of like triggering into my mind is, how is that different from the AI system that most companies are building today? Because I guess it would be very interesting to understand kind of like, where is it really going, and especially like if this knowledge becomes dynamic and shared, our leadership, you say we're humans, right? Sometimes our leadership shifts from command to sense making, I hope. So how ready will be these organizations for all these shifts?
The first thing that organizations have to do is to explicitly define as a goal and treat as such, as knowledge as a common asset. Not something that is, in a scattered number of tools and documents and human brains, but actually changing the way we work. So all we do is to collect, curate, order, and present this knowledge, this common knowledge, to make the right decisions to the whole team. That's a very pragmatic way of starting to walk in this direction. And well, I could go as technical as you wanted, but this is something that when you think how to do it, I'm now, for example, focused on solving this particular problem for software-centric organizations like mine. Okay, we have hundreds of programmers that they like to work in a very artistic way. I used to be one. And we're trying to put, to turn the company inside out and work in a different way. So our goal is that in a few months, we will be syncing in real time all we're doing to know what is the ground truth of the company in terms of the code asset and the documentation associated to it and the status of the systems that are actually working in producing revenues in real time. I think that's a small example, a small blueprint of what's going to be the company of the future. The company of the future is going to be organized around the common shared knowledge asset and the tools to, in real time, dump, work, provide information to it, and the agents that will help us, specialized agents, always under our supervision. For me, that's very important to have a human in the loop. So we get this curated ground truth that will allow these organizations to be better performing than the organizations that are organized, let's say, in a more traditional way. Okay, basically, relying on the human capabilities to do collaboration in the 20th century way. For me, that's going to be the difference between the 20th century and the 21st century is how humans will work on combined with machines. That's going to be the big change.
I really love this, and I'm looking forward to that big change, because I guess that somehow we need to close that gap in between how the building, the system that we're building, and how do they learn from the information that we have as a company. And I was thinking about what you were saying, this about how the memory that that the organizations are building through the AI, and when everything is remembered, what do you think is going to change in an organization from the cultural point of view? Does it raise control, or do you think that it will free people to innovate?
Well, first, this is a very human thing. Okay, I'm not sure in our private life we always want to know the truth. But an organization, a performing organization, a commercial company is something else. We're in a competitive world, and truth is what will help us be efficient and do the right thing at the right moment. I don't want to get into the personal side of it, only in one aspect that is very important to me, because I'm a father of two 13-year-old girls, and I'm very concerned about their future, okay? I'm convinced, Diana, that education and having a basic level of access to AI for all people is going to be exactly the same thing. So think of the radical transformation of the educational system that is now based in I admire a lot of teachers and professors. I used to be one. I think it's one of the most noble professions that a person can have. Actually, we are all teachers and professors who are working in teams with a responsibility. That's the way I see it. But what's going to happen is that AI will blend with the capabilities of human teachers that are we kind of coaches or guides. And we have the responsibility of providing a minimum level of access to those AI tools to everybody in the world. I mean, I have the fortune of working in what we call, I don't know if it's the right term, emerging countries, countries in our beloved Latin America or in Africa now. And I see how young people there, extremely talented, are actually using AI to self-educate themselves and jump years ahead of what would be a traditional learning path through, the more common institutions, which is universities. So we are starting to recruit people, Diana, that have been self-taught using AI and are extremely competent programmers, product designers, or even accountants. So the world is changing as we speak now, and the change is happening. You only have to look around the world and see that this technology needs to be put on the hands, needs to be something that is accessible by everybody in the world, and the world will accelerate its change, I hope, for good.
I guess that also the real test is turning that data into wisdom without losing the trust.
Yeah.
And which probably take us to purpose and ethics. So that reminds me of that news. I don't know if you remember earlier this year where an employee of the company Arup in Hong Kong joined what it seems to do this, a Zoom, same faces, same voices until they approved like a $25 million transfer. Every person in that call was a very deep fake generated by AI. So, and I do not see this as a tech failure. For me, it's more like a failure of trust. When machines can convince others that they imitate us, how do we protect what is still uniquely human? Judgment, empathy, even ethics.
Well, first, talking about that particular incident, which is very much publicized and is real, by the way. It's not fake news.
It's true. It's true.
We need to develop the technology of truth. That's our big hope. And it's going to be an extension of current cybersecurity. Current cybersecurity tries to protect us from attacks, from, malicious agents getting into our information systems. But we'll need something. I started with this example when we started this talk, something that we should activate, so we know that whatever this person is saying, this setup, or this news we're reading are very likely true. And I think things like, we have time now to get into details, not only AI, but technologies like blockchain are going to be very important in giving us, red light, say, watch, this thing you are seeing now, or this person you are talking to, it looks like it's not what you think it may look like. Okay, so that's one of the things we need to focus on, developing technology for grounding the truth on whatever we do, and a professional but not private space. Preserving human values. I think, look, that's a very important question. What is human? Well, I think what a human is has been changing also across time and across history. For example, some of the tasks we consider real human knowledge tasks are being automated very fast with generative AI. Are they human tasks? Are they not? I don't think that's the question. The question is what we as humans want to do. For example, do you know that the number of people that play chess as a hobby has exploded after machines routinely beat human players? So machines are better chess players than us. But even so, we still enjoy playing chess against ourselves. That's being human, okay? So I don't try to run faster than my car. But there was a time that, walking and running was considered a human activity. Now a car is faster than us. But what is being human? I enjoy walking. I enjoy running. Well, actually, I enjoy cycling, but okay. So defining the purpose of humans, what I call human flourishing, in the context of AI, is going to be also the other the other objective that we have as species. Okay, defining what's and one of the important things is that we need to. You remember that I humbly proposed a kind of pledge in the meeting we had in the
Yes.
the point of those kind of things is that we commit ourselves to use AI to enhance humans, not to replace humans, not to compete with humans. Of course, that's natural. New technologies always produce some displacement of labor, and we need to reskill quickly, and some people suffer. I'm not sure that we can avoid that completely. We need to develop social nets for that. But what's being human, it's going to be more and more the big question. Imagine now in a future abundant society, Diana, that all our basic needs are solved by robots. Production, health, all of that. What would you do in that situation? Would you still be, a leader of the group you are? Would you be an entrepreneur? What would you like to do if you could have all your other needs solved? Maybe you need to be an entrepreneur. Maybe you need to be a writer. Maybe you want to be nursing. Maybe you want to fish. So that idealistic society, in my opinion, we could go and work for it. If we are wise in technology.
I love this, Fernando, because I guess that it put us a little bit into the perspective on how are we preparing our companies for that? If I'm thinking about like in what happened earlier also during this year, the Allen Institute and OpenAI, actually, they collaborated into a project to scan the millions of news stories and social posts to try to detect this misinformation patterns in real time. And this kind of brings me to your concept of truth. It obviously wasn't perfect, but probably for the first time humanity was building something close to that global fact-checking, what I call it, nervous system. And for me, the idea of creating this, truth infrastructure really fascinates me. Because if networks begin to verify the truth in real time, and I'm thinking, with my hat of a telecom person, what does the role of the telecommunications companies are going to play? Could telcos, these thing companies that will just move voice and data from one place to another, do you think that we could become the guardians of the digital truth? What do you think about that idea?
Telecom companies are companies that have invested a lot of capex in physical infrastructure, networks, in paying licenses to use the spectrum and help us communicate. But in my opinion, they are missing a lot of trains lately. Okay, I think that telcos, for example, today, that there is a big push to build huge data centers. That's something that naturally they could be a stronger part of. Actually, there's a strong discussion here in Europe, which we have a very fragmented telecom industry, that they should be more active in providing us the basic physical infrastructure. I mean, knowledge for us is very abstract thing, but knowledge has to be somewhere, somehow, in a physical system. Maybe in the future we will develop organic technologies to keep knowledge, something like artificial neurons. But today we have electrical technology, we have storage systems, we have huge investments in physical infrastructure for developing knowledge, intelligent infrastructure to help humans. I think that telcos should have been much more aggressive, much more present, much more leading in this. However, Diana, we all know that there is this thing that is very real, the innovator's dilemma, that Professor Christensen, the late Professor Christensen, invented or found for us. which a telco is very much focused on its current business, and maybe they don't have time to look at the future. Okay, this can happen to all of us. But if I have a little criticism for telcos today, is that they are missing a huge opportunity to become the operators of the basic infrastructure we need to deploy the artificial intelligence systems we're going to need for the future. That's one of the key things that they could be doing today, instead of selling computers and alarms and this type of things. I think that would be the natural evolution of the telecom that we know from the 20th century.
I love it. It sounds actually inspiring because, but it also can become a little bit daunting because who decides when we were thinking about this natural, and especially this concept of truth is coming always to my mind, and then how do we prevent that this global brain, or this entity is kind of like becoming maybe biased? Who decides to have access, especially because today it seems that we have the ones that we have access are very few. And then how do we democratize the whole thing?
And it has to be non-centralized. Democracy is, in some sense, the contrary of centralization. So very interested also theoretically in how to build large intelligence systems that are a network of interconnected agents, but not a centralized big agent like a god we ask for everything. Okay, that's a big mistake. It doesn't make any sense. Okay, so the answer to your question is this. It's not one single resource. It's a democratic spread of the technology, and it's present in every country, in every school, in every company. And we need new types of organization to make democratic decisions. What a democratic decision? An organized way to agree on a common goal and how we achieve it. Okay, at the end is that. Okay, potentially in the less cruent way possible. That's the smart way of organizing a society, a company. So truth at the end, it's a simple backtracking algorithm. It's basically finding the provenance or the causal relationships. There's a lot of theory about that, of things.
Yeah.
But also more and more in our world, we're creating truths that are based on the agreement of a group of people. At the end, that's human, okay? Beliefs are unprovable truths, and they have a purpose in our culture. I'm not against that. What I think is that we should be able to build a knowledge infrastructure, AI accessible to a lot of people, distributed. There's going to be a lot of intelligence in the edge, also in cars, in robots, in devices. And the way we organize this knowledge to find the truth we need in every moment, that's the key, in my opinion, gap in the current effort to develop AI. Now AI is focused very much in solving problems, generate a lot of content, giving us speed. But if we want a quality, evolution of a society into a more intelligent species, we need to create this layer of truth for every purpose we have. For example, how to govern ourselves, how to educate our children, how to take care of our older people, how to keep us fit and happy, and doing the things we want to do. I think that's the challenge. And I'm not an idealistic person. I'm a very pragmatic person. All I'm saying, I believe, is at our reach. We need a biological revolution. We're going to change also as humans. We're going to take care of many diseases that are basically solvable with AI. We're going to have a climate revolution, and we're going to have an intelligent revolution. These are the ones that will define the next century for humankind.
I love this conversation because it put us like in a world where our networks are not just connecting information, but also help humanity remember why the things matter. So I would like to transition right now, Fernando, to the favorite part of this Tech Foresight podcast, which is the 4 trends and 4 dreams. because in order to understand what is happening today, I guess this is half of the job. We also need to understand how to imagine it, because that's how we lead into the future. So this is how it works. First, I'm going to ask you to share 4 trends, what is happening right now that will shape the next 5 to 10 years. And from there, we're going to jump into year 2050, where we're going to explore 4 dreams. And I want you to imagine that kind of world where you hope to see, and hopefully, if we get things right. Are you ready? Ready to begin?
Yes, I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay.
Energy.
Energy.
Energy is life. We are also biological machines that need energy, and I think the revolution in the way we generate, store, and distribute energy is going to be amazing. And I'm not talking just of fusion. I'm talking of storage. I'm talking of renewals. And I think that technology is going to accelerate in the next few years. We're going to have breakthroughs in all these areas. So energy is one of them. Okay.
Okay. Energy.
The
Trend
other,
number 2.
yeah, the other trend is climate. I'm not very original there, but I see the effect of the climate change. I live in the Mediterranean, so I see, how the beaches get smaller. I see how we have more frequent floods. I also take a look at the world and see, sometimes in Asia we have these typhoons. That thing is something that we'll have first to learn to live with, and second to revert. Okay, so then we as biological machines are going to be hacked. We're going to be re-engineered. Yeah,
Okay.
we're going to live longer, hopefully
So this
healthy.
is your turn number 3.
This is 3. Yeah, this is
Okay. So
I think
we have, right? We have energy, climate, and number 3.
is us, the biological re-engineering of us as machines. Okay, it's not just curing diseases; it's also hacking how we age. And for me, I don't want to live forever, but I would like to live in the best possible condition until the last day. And I think that's going to be not only a huge industry, a huge human endeavor. And we're going to see amazing things very soon, because for what I know, it's an area that I'm very much interested. There's a lot of new innovations in findings in labs that are going to hit the market. And the problem is going to be in the regulation side. I mean, how are they going to control all these things that we all want to test on ourselves and whatever? However, I think that's going to be a revolution. And the fourth one has to do with knowledge. The fourth.
Knowledge. All right. So we have, right?
Yeah, but
We have energy, climate, us as people for knowledge. Tell me about
knowledge in the sense, the blending of human intelligence with the power of machines in a new thing. And this is going to start with education. What I said before, I think education and access to AI are going to be exactly the same thing, exactly the same. When I tell this in the school of my girls, they get crazy because they don't know what I'm talking about. But I think the revolution is going to be education, because from education we will build the new collective intelligence that's going to define the 21st century. So this is
Okay, so
this is
so those are the 4 trends. So now that we capture what is shaping this next decade, let's travel to 2050. And let's imagine that world that we want to build. And I'm going to prompt you maybe 4 dreams in 2050, thinking on like if something that probably you've helped to build this future. So we are thinking that in one word or short phrase, you tell me your 4 dreams for a civilization of this collective intelligence. Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, so in 2050, what is your dream for the truth?
Well, I would say the first one is that I think we will become kind of interplanetary species. I think we're gonna move around the solar system and know how to use that privilege that we're living in this around this little star called the sun in a smart way. I think that's going to be a dream I would like to see coming true before I leave this existence. Okay. Another dream would be that we as humans transcend the concept of a confrontational society or spaces. Okay, of course, like most people, I read in my youth 1984 by George Orwell, and how the world was, or it is happening actually. The world is organized in the Eurasian, the American, these three big blocks. I think that's going to be transcended. I think we humans have other more important challenges that fighting against ourselves. And I think that's another dream I would like to be seen happening, making true, in year 2050 or earlier if possible. Okay, I need have two more shots, right?
Okay, 2 more dreams.
Yes.
2050 is, but what I want, because those are very ethereal, if you want to call them. But I would like us to land it a little bit and then go. So let me prompt you on this, right? How do you dream that access intelligence is going to be in 2050? In one word.
It's gonna be implanted.
Okay. Perfect. I like that. Then what about this 2050 in one world, your dream for collective memory?
It's gonna be ubiquitous. Collective memory is gonna be everywhere, like air.
Everywhere. Ubiquitous.
Everywhere.
Okay.
Yes.
Love it. I love it. I guess that this is super interesting. And what about a dream and one word on maybe human purpose?
That's a difficult one. It's gonna be prevailing, not having an end date as we have today.
I love this because I think intelligence is,
yes,
it's going to be, humanity is nothing without wisdom as well. So I love this. Okay, so we talk about the future, right, of intelligence, and I would like to make it a little bit more personal about you. What is, Fernando, that best advice that you ever received?
This was from my father. He made me read a lot of books, and he told me that basically I had to be my own. I had to draw my own path, not be too subject to what externally were the conventions of the time. I had to educate myself, read a lot. I had the luck, Diana, to grow in a humble home, but plenty of books. I still remember the encyclopedias that my father bought for me, and reading. My father told me, read all that. Let's talk, and then let's think of what could be the path in life that you would like to walk. I became by vocation an engineer, and always followed my own instinct. And when something was not aligned with my inner values, I just left that. Yeah, I've left high positions and very important organizations just to be myself. So this is the advice. It's be yourself. Sometimes means that you have to renounce to stability and material goods.
So if you think about that moment, because we all have made mistakes.
Yes.
If you think about like that moment, that probably one of the biggest mistakes or failures that you have experienced in life, you could go back on time and give you advice. What advice would that be?
Sometimes, especially when you're young, you make decisions based on an impulse of the moment without seeing the whole picture. In one way, you could say with one word, but you like very much to have one word for things, that's something called patience and wisdom combined. Okay, so my big mistake, for example, was to leave university. I used to be a professor there too early. Okay, I think I was too young when I left university. I would have liked to stay longer, But the challenge of being in a private company and doing things in the commercial market was too strong for me. But still, inside me, I'm an intellectual. Okay, so this is me. Okay, maybe in your case, I don't know. Maybe you wanted to be a singer, but I like ideas. Okay, so for me, staying longer around smart people have been a good thing. I basically left for the private company too early.
For the good of humanity, thanks God I'm not a singer. I love this. Then if you could give an instant skill to the leaders of today, what skill do you think that they need as a given?
The most important skill today is I always say in a phrase, I don't try to build teams of stars. I try to be a team of normal people that perform as a star team. So the ability to help people discover their own talent and collaborate with others in a generous way for a common purpose. The leader, and this is a value that is going to transcend centuries and technology. So leaders are instruments of the common good. So that's a skill for the leaders today. Actually, I hire people, Diana, more and more based on aptitude than in aptitude. So less on what they know and more on they can prove they've done and how they interact with others. And you remember in Venice, I mentioned that we are now not hiring deeply expert programmers anymore. We hire people with less technical expertise and more soft skills because we found that we need people that want to reach the level of working for others as leaders. Okay, so that's the skill I value the most, taking into account that I'm a techie guy, I'm an introvert, and I've learned that in life that's the most important skill. And in the hard way, I've learned that.
If you think of a book that that you have read either now or way before, but that you think that every leader should read, which one is that?
Well, I can tell you the first book I read on this type of things, again, was my father. It's a very popular book. I don't know the name in English and in Spanish, but sounds similar, from Dale Carnegie, How Make Friends and Influence People, something like that. That was the first book I read when I was like 8 or 9, and it changed my mind, So it's, oh, wow, how to work with other people, how to influence them. This was very, very, very important for me, okay? And then today I like the classics, and I'm a total fan of the Stoic movement, but coming closer to today, the writings of Michel de Montaigne, the French, the first modern man, as we say, is a book I always have with me. I have here in my office, and I read it continuously. This is probably my guide for life, the one I use the most.
I love this. I guess that this has been a beautiful conversation that we have had. So far, here are my three takeaways, Fernando, from today's journey is connection to cognition. Telecom, we spoke about it, is no longer just about the speech or reach. It's about turning connection into shared this understanding. My second takeaway that I have here is memory as a power. I guess that the smart systems organizations are the ones that are going to remember what the decisions are made and not what is done. So thank you for that thought. And the other one, what I loved about that you told me, and I kept it, is the human purpose first. Technology can scale intelligence, but only we can define what is meaning. Did I get it right? Is there anything that I missed?
No, perfect. It's a very beautiful synthesis of an enjoyable conversation, and thank you for the opportunity. These ideas are depth in my deep feelings, and I think that I hope we go in this direction as a species, because this century could be fantastic for humankind if we make the right decisions. The technology is there. It's our will and our focus and our wisdom that has to be focused in the right way.
Fernando, thank you. Thank you for
Thank
bringing
you.
both clarity and imagination to this conversation. Thank you, my friend.
It's been a pleasure. Thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.
And to our listeners today, we explore what happens when technology learns not just to connect us, but to think with us. Collective superintelligence is not only about replacing humanity, it's actually more about amplifying what makes us most humans, our ability to learn, to adapt, and to dream together. If this episode made you think differently about the future of intelligence, share with someone who is shaping that technology. Or maybe they are simply curious about how we are going to think together tomorrow. Share it with them. Follow the Tech Foresight podcast for more foresight-driven conversations that will help you stay ahead on what's next. Until the next time, I am Diana Daniels. Stay curious, stay connected, and stay foresighted. See you soon.